One of the things that I found just so profound is just going out, using, like my mom says, I've got 2 ears, 1 mouth, using them in that proportion. Going out and just watching people struggle, listening to what they've done, and seeing, that's what some of these videos you'll see, seeing these incredible stories of people overcoming amazing adversity. And that's the best lesson there is, seeing what other people have done. And then our job as policymakers is to get behind them so that we can empower more of this. Name, who is a person that you know that fell on hard times, that was in destitution, that went through a struggle, and that really succeeded, that really flourished, that found their potential? Who is the person you know that did that, and why do you think they were able to make it?
In the course of my life and the campaign, I've interacted with so many people in my family, in my neighborhood, parents we interact with on my son's sports teams that are facing extraordinary challenges, and people that have worked for me. The one story I always tell is the one that's deeply influenced me because it happens to be very close, and it goes to the story of my parents. This was a long time ago, but I think it still speaks to the promise of America. When my parents were born both in Cuba. My father, when he was 9 years old, 4 days shy of his 9th birthday, his mother died. And so he had to stop going to school, and he had to go work at 9 years of age. And the bottom line is he really never went back to school, and he would work for the next 70 years of his life. In 1956, my parents came here. It was the only place in the world where people like them could have a chance. They arrived, they had no money, they barely spoke the language, didn't know anyone, had no real education beyond whatever an 8-year-old learned in Havana in the 1930s and 40s. And it was hard. This was not an instant success for them. They struggled to find a job that they could do. My father in particular struggled. They would take any job they could find, but they just persevered. And let me tell you what happened less than 10 years later. Working hard, my father found a job, eventually worked his way up to being a banquet bartender on Miami Beach. My mother was a cashier at a hotel, a stock clerk at Kmart, a maid at a hotel in Las Vegas. And my parents were never rich. They were never famous. You never would have heard about them had I not run for office and told their story. But my parents were successful because working as a bartender and a maid, just a few decades removed from that very difficult circumstance, they owned a home in a safe and stable neighborhood. They both retired with dignity and security, and they left all 4 of their children better off than themselves. And the thing I love about this country is, number one, this is the only place in the world where they ever could have done that. And number two, it is the story of millions of people, including people sitting here today and people up on the stage right now. We are all a generation or two removed from that story. Mm-hmm. And that's what makes us different, and that's what makes us special. And that's what's at risk of, we're at risk of losing. And if we ever lose that, we stop being an exceptional country. We've all experienced that.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have about 22 seconds left.
Well, it looks like we wore out the protesters.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah. Well, they have 16 seconds left, don't know.
Let's not encourage them, just in case. You guys have been a fantastic audience.